You'll see two levels of knowledge when you go to our continental partners. You'll see a level of knowledge in Brussels, in which, frankly, I think they take an awful lot of, they read all the British newspapers, you're quite right, and they take them, if anything, too seriously, is what I say to them. And it was a reason of humorous exchange between Jean-Claude Juncker and myself last time I saw him. But more importantly, in the context of the 27, actually very little of what happens here percolates across. Let me give you an example. I remember talking to the Austrian Foreign Secretary. He's turning into a very good friend of mine. And we're talking about, this is about 2 months ago, and we're talking about the issue of the citizens' rights. And I explained what we wanted to do. And he said, well, you better come to Austria and say that, because nobody in Austria knows this. So our bigger problem is not the noise. Our bigger problem is getting the argument across. So when the week after, the Monday after, the Prime Minister announced the citizens' rights policy, every single embassy in, 26 of the 27, not Ireland because it's a different policy, but 26 to 27, we published in the main newspaper in every capital what the policy was, an extensive op-ed on it, and every ambassador was sent out to do interviews on the issue to explain it in some detail. And to be honest, the real issue of getting the message across is at that level, because we have to have the people understand, the people of Slovenia, the people of Hungary, the people of France,
the people of the northeast, the people of Wales.
Well, in terms of I'm not carrying out the negotiation. I'm carrying out hopefully on behalf of the people of the north and the northeast, not with them. And the truth here is that we're trying to get across that point, and I think actually successfully. I mean, if you look, not immediately because there was a sort of standoff initial response, but you look in a few days afterwards. Most of those countries, not everyone, but most of those countries, we're getting a positive response. And that's what I have to worry about. I have to worry about getting clarity across of the offer we have, because the offer we have is a good one. You'll find in terms of public statements, it's very hard to put a cigarette paper between the Chancellor and myself on transition or implementation agreement, because we have discussed it at length, virtually weekly for the last, since Christmas of last year. You will similarly find on another controversial area in terms of issues of migration policy. You know, we have both said time and again, bringing back control of migration policy in the UK is not the same as slamming the door. We want to maintain the attraction of talent to British industry, and we don't want to see labour shortages in the UK economy, or parts of it. So we come back to Northern Ireland and other places as well. So you have to. I mean, you have to look at the. I'm afraid you have to look past the briefing and look at what the official statements are, because that's what the real policy is, not what you see some unnamed, unspecified briefing from some unknown person. Yes, I believe we can get a free trade negotiation concluded and a customs agreement negotiation concluded in the period. What will be much more difficult, however, is to get all the practical implementations that go with it. Not so much for us. It'll be quite tough. It'll be quite tough to get our customs in the right place in 2 years, but it's doable. We're spending a bit of money. But to get the French customs in the same place in 2 years, or the Belgian or the Dutch customs, I think would be a different issue. That's why transition period. So it's a whole series of practicalities. And what people are doing, I think, is misinterpreting a statement saying, like, well, we might have to do something in the transition period as being an abandonment of the original aim. So the answer there is, in those terms, the major elements have not changed. I cite as my evidence, if you like, Karel de Gucht, who used to be Trade Commissioner, who's not very friendly to Brexit at all. He hates the idea. But he said in terms, of course there are trade deals that take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, but that's not a technical problem. It's a question of whether the political desire is there. If the Council wants to achieve it in the 2 years, comes back to the point made by Baroness Neville-Rolfe, if they want to do it, they can do it in the timetable. The technicalities can be achieved. The question is the political will. Now, I think it's there, but we will test that in the next, by about Christmas, I think.